niggas and niggas. Back at you niggas one more time with a bad motherfucker, as usual. Don't waste no time, we'll get straight into it. Now this one right here, I ought to name this motherfucker CP time, right? This motherfucker. This motherfucker kind of late, or later than I had expected on doing it. I really wanted to do it, drop this shit on. I really wanted to drop this shit on St. Tupac Day, or commenting on y'all to y'all as St. Patrick's Day or whatever. Finna get into that though. But for some reason the juice just wasn't there, the energy wasn't there. I always got the material. I just couldn't. It wasn't just clicking at the time, so I didn't want to force it. So I waited or whatever. So now we're here. We'll talk about two things. We'll talk about Easter real fast. I'm gonna talk your head off about that. We'll get through that real quick. Then I'm gonna get to this movie by the name of Irish Jam. Eddie Griffin, starring Eddie Griffin, Monique in there. I can't remember the lead lady's name. And I just saw it the other day. I can't remember. But anyway, got to pardon me for that. But yeah, Irish Jam. Now this movie came out in 2006, and it's funny how this shit linked up with my whole Get Down. Now, if you know me, you know you've been following my work thoroughly. Then you know that. Excuse me. You know my whole. You familiar with how I took the well, at least in my world, I took the whole St. Patrick's Day and reversed the energy and renamed it St. Tupac Day. And the reason I did that is because, first and foremost, let me say this much. I know I said it before, finna say it now, and will say it again. We had to get out of this whole white man holiday shit. Now this one, you can probably say, "Oh, this is a white man holiday," because at the end of the day, but the motif around it, actually, first and foremost, actually, the whole concept of the motif, the green and the gold, the timing, which is March and all that, that really deals with springtime coming. The green and the gold or whatever. It could be looked at as a celebration of springtime, of us springing out of the cold dead of the winter into spring, when everything all the crops and stuff start to grow back, and the green life returns back to the planet. Because when you go through the winter, everything dies, leaves turn brown, and the grass start turning brown and all that shit. Everything goes through its little ebb phase, or its stagnant phase, or whatever you want to call it. And then when the spring roll around, everything springs back up. Grass springs back up out the ground. Plants spring up or whatnot. The leaves turn back green. So all that shit is relevant. Plus the green is Osirian. The pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Well, the rainbow is the 7 chakras running up the spine. When you run your Kundalini up through all 7 chakras, it's, each chakra color corresponds to a color in the rainbow. The pot of gold being when the white or gold light, or however you want to picture it, shoots up the spine, hits the pineal gland. When it hits the pineal gland, that golden light illuminates. When that energy hits the pineal gland, your car comes online, or your so let's say everybody's familiar with melanin or whatever, but it's light inside the melanin. So when that light hits the pineal gland, the dark melanin within you pushes that light outward, and just imagine a gold version of yourself, or like the same way you when you look in the ground, you see your shadow. Imagine uh, a form of that within you, but instead of being black like a shadow, it being gold. So it brings the gold out. Uh, uh, that's what they hope when you in the Bible. I can't remember what chapter it is, but uh, it speaks about it says something like I'll give you treasures of darkness or whatnot. Uh, the treasure is the gold within the darkness or the melanin or whatnot. So that's the rainbow, the leprechauns, you know, the little people. That's the Twa people, the original people, the planet, people, the planet of the Earth were the Twa, the little people or whatnot. Some refer to them as the pygmy, but they say that's a derogatory term. So you know, you know, whatever the deal is with that. But so that's what that comes from. Like I say, the green and the gold. I just went through that. The rainbow. What else? Even the whole. When you think of the Irish, you think of a lot of heavy drinking, beer or whatnot. Even that's beer second to Osiris, wine and all that. That's why you got to be careful with what you say, because like sometimes you can be. I understand people when people speak out against like drugs and alcohol and stuff, but I think that people go too far. It's more so of a moderation or not what you do or how you do it. Sometimes it is what you do, because it's some shit you ask me like, hey man, what you do? I'd be like, nah, I wouldn't fuck with that. You know what I'm saying? So but you know, you got some people be like, man, you gotta stop the drinking, stop the smoking, and like, man, this is all shit we've been doing. It ain't the fact that you're doing it, it's how America, or maybe the world in general today, but we'll say America in particular, we have an addictive nature, period. It ain't just about drugs and all that shit. It's about all this shit. Food, sex, you name it. You know what I'm saying? So, you be better off telling motherfuckers to try to check their addictive nature. Now, if you've been through alcoholism and you feel like you can't hack it, or you can't drink without drinking every day, or drinking to your detriment or whatever, then by all means, you stay away from alcohol and liquor and all that shit. And, you know, I don't judge, you know, that's one thing I will say, you know what I'm saying? You know, everything ain't for everybody. Some people can, like me, I drink, but I don't drink, I don't drink every day by far. I went through a phase where every day I get out of work, you know, I take me a few shots, but I don't even do that shit no more. That was back in the game, whatever. And you do feel that shit. Like you know, you start feeling little pains and shit, but even that, once you just stop doing shit every day, even that shit go. At least for me, it went away. You know what I'm saying? But it was nothing like, oh, I gotta go to the doctor, no shit like that. But you feel a little subtle shit. So but yeah, beer. Shit, you gonna get the book coming forth by day. You will see beer, meat, all that shit. Even with the meat thing. Get the book coming forth by day. That's the ancient ancestors and all that shit. So, like I say, it's choice is yours though, but moderation is key. So, that part. But the beer thing. Now, me personally, I drink. See, which is in this movie, you gonna when Eddie Griffin first get the, because he ends up going to Ireland or whatever, but when he first gets to Ireland, they greet him with a beer. You gonna see the man holding a pitcher of beer. It's gonna be dark though. That's the type of beer I fuck with. I don't fuck with Budweiser and all that. Now, don't get me wrong, growing up, you know, we in the hood and shit, so we drink which we'll get to that in a minute, but got something right here. We in the hood, we grew up drinking shit like this. You know what I mean? If you wondering why I got this shit, I'll get into that in a minute. But so we grew up, you know, OE and Blue Boy and some other famous brands, or whatever. But you know that type of shit. My niggas was Bush, Budweiser, and all that shit. And so you know, I had my fair share of partaking in that shit. You know what I'm saying? But I wasn't never just a. I'm more. If I'm a drink, I'm more so of a liquor guy, cause. Well, at least with that type of beer, you have to sit there and drink that shit a lot before you really even start feeling the buzz. Now, this is from my experience with that shit. That relatively, when you compare that shit to like dark, see, I drink craft brews and shit, dark beer, dark ale and shit, coffee beer, like you know what I'm saying, all kind of shit like that. And when I realized it's a difference, it's almost like that gold beer, that lighter beer. It's like a knockoff for the real dark shit. Cause that lager, when you drink that lager, that dark beer, I drink, man, some Budweiser shit. I had to drink about 4 or 5. I mean, I'm a little dude. I probably had to drink about 4 or 5 cans of that bullshit. I go get 2 of them damn dark beers or whatever, drink 1.5 of them motherfuckers, and I'm straight. You know what I'm saying? So, all that bush and all that shit, you gotta drink that shit too much. I ain't trying to need to be pissing all day and. I just, long story short, I ain't really a big fan. Now, I'm sitting around, we at the barbecue and shit, I might throw about 1 or 2 back or something, you know what I'm saying, blah, 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 but I ain't, like, you compare me to my partners, and compared to my partners, them niggas drink that shit religiously. I ain't fucking with it, but, when I started fucking with them dark beers, it was like, okay, I can do this, because you know, it ain't, I can drink about 1, maybe 2 when I'm good. I ain't gotta be sitting here drinking this shit all day, running to the bathroom and drinking this shit. And anyway, let me get off my beer habits. But you're gonna see them with that dark beer. Now, when you get a beer to Eddie Griffin gonna take a sip of the shit and you gonna spit it out like, oh, what is that? See, that's dark beer. See, the average nigga drink beer, you know, they drink, like I said, you used to drink Budweiser and OE and all that shit right there. That dark beer got kind of more of a stouty taste to it, so it's like more of an acquired taste. That's my type of shit, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's when you see that part of the movie when he spit the beer out, that's why he gonna spit the beer out, because the beer, the beer that the nigga drinking, compared to matter of fact, I gotta piss right now. Hold on. Yeah, the beer that nigga was drinking, that shit, but the dark beer, average nigga hit that shit. And he kind of exaggerating. It don't be that well. It is kind of a strong taste, but when you spit it out, that's the notion I got. I was like, oh, I see what this is. Niggas ain't used to that kind of beer, cause we drink that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, even at the beer thing, even that's Osirian and shit. You know what I'm saying? So, what else? So the Rainbow, Leprechaun, the Notre Dame thing, Our Fair Lady, that's ISIS, the Notre Dame, or Danny, Twata Donning, what else? That's about it. See, the Leprechaun. Hold on. Alright. Shit, this bitch, so. But yeah. So, yeah, I had to pause for the cows. But anyway, but yeah, so, where was I? Well, anyway, I was talking about the beer and shit or whatever. But we'll get back to that in a minute. We're gonna get to the movie. Let me get to this Easter thing. But what I first and foremost, we'll give a shout out Esther Roll. We want to shout out to my baby girl, Miss Kaya. Shout out to Whitney. I got them two there like they like yeah, I got my girl here too. Where is she at? Because like I said, I was supposed to do this. There she go. That look too. I like that look. Conviction. Looking at you. Dirty industry suits. We ain't gonna get into that. But her they birthday, the reason I say this is they birthday on the same day, so it's like they always be coming through at the same time a lot. So that smiles, that give you the smile, that's that says vanity energy right there. This right here, this that. Yeah. That darkness, niggas. But we get back to the movie, but I just wanted to bring it up because her transition, the day she made a transition was like 3 days apart from or 4 days was no 3 days. It was the 7th St. Tupac's day was that March 17th. She passed with March 14th. So I was gonna do a video that Friday and then do the Irish jam thing, which I'm doing right now. That Monday, because you know it was the 14th on a Friday, 17th on a Monday. And I just couldn't, for some reason, the energy wasn't up. But when she made the transition, I had hit her sister. I was like, man, what I said, what says she's a drink or whatever, you know, so I could pour her for her. And you know, I'm thinking she's gonna say some type of liquor or something. She was like, she used to drink Mickey's, bro. I'm like, beer. Well, that kind of beer, Mickey's. But so cause me, I like to partake. So that's like I said with Pac, he fuck with the Hennessy. So when I pour my shot, I'm drinking too. And now with this, she just gotta fuck with me on the vodka. This is Mickey's. Now it's all relevant because first and foremost, you see this is Irish bullshit. I wouldn't advise you drink this shit. I'm gonna tell you why in a minute. Sorry sis, but this ain't cut it. She probably, you know, like I said, this probably some shit she drunk when we was growing up or whatever. She got me by what, 7 years? I think she's like, when I was like 11, she was like 18 or whatever, something like that. Maybe a little give or take. So when she said Mickey's, I doubt my sis was drinking this bullshit by the time she passed or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Cause this is bullshit. I ain't gonna lie to you. Look, I went and got her some of this shit, and I poured out a little bit for her. As you can see, this is the original one I got. I poured out a little bit for her, took a few sips of this. I can't do it. So that was around the birthday time, I think, if I ain't mistaken. But say Tupac's Day came around, you see I'm serious about that shit. You're gonna see why when I get to this old St. Patrick shit. But so I when St. Tupac's Day came around, I said, you know what, man, I'm gonna go ahead and drink one of the motherfuckers. You know, it's St. Patrick's Day, Bill, sis. I like, fuck it, okay. Never again. Now, I drink liquor. I ain't just a hardcore nigga, but I drink, I drink. I got my, every other now and then I go get me something pour up or whatever, liquor or whatever. Like I said, if I drink beer, it'd be like some type of craft brew or some type of dark beer or They don't necessarily have to be dark. Cause like I said, this is the bullshit. Cause you got light beers. For example, the beer I was drinking when Selena came through, the what is it called, Lagunitas. Now that's not a dark beer, but it's potent. It ain't like this bullshit we be growing up in the hood drinking and shit. So I said I'm gonna go ahead and drink one. Fuck it, ain't gonna harm. What harm could it do? Man, I drunk this shit, man. It was probably like 12 something. When I was trying to do this shit. I kept the juice with me up. But I'm drinking this shit. I think I drank like, not that bottle. I drank like probably half of that shit. I said, I can't do it. It wasn't doing that to me. And then it just wasn't hitting. So I go to sleep. I wake up. And the first few hours of me being up, I was fine. Man, a little bit after that, all of a sudden I feel like all my energy was gone. Like the juice really wasn't there then. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like I'm tired, fatigued or some shit, but really for no reason. It ain't like I done some shit. I'm like, what the fuck going on here? I'm like, man, what is this? I said, oh man. And like I said, it took me a minute to make the connection. Because, like I said, we grew up drinking this shit. So this is the first time it ever happened. I done drunk beer and got drunk. And, you might wake up the next morning and shit. Like with beer, liquor, you can get that hangover. Like beer, you can wake up fucked up, but I ain't ever just woke up hungover. Cause like I said, I'm not going that hard with that shit anyway. Like I said, with me, I get a little drunk off that. I can't sit there. My partner, them niggas sit there and drink beer all day. Budweiser, Bush, and all that shit. I can't do it. I go there with him for a minute. I just having to take a piss every 5 minutes. Just think it turns me off about the whole thing. So but even to this day, we at the barbecue or something. I might throw 1 or 2 back of that, whatever. But I'm more so of a liquor nigga. Now I drink liquor, and I don't, unless you drink too much and wake up with a hangover, that's one thing. But this is beer. This way, it wasn't like a hangover or some shit, but it was like I don't know what the fuck that was, man. I just was tired. Like, I'm like, not down, but it was just like, I can't explain. It was some weird shit, though. I'm like, what the fuck going on? I drunk that bullshit last night. Now, I never felt like it was weird. I know, like with me, it's either hungover. And like I said, with beer, especially not no half a goddamn 40, that's, even though I don't drink beer, that's petty talk. It ain't, I'm not the biggest drinker, but that's bullshit. Yeah, I tell you that from my experience, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know what the fuck going on. So long story short, I would advise you niggas, something ain't right about that shit. That's all I'm gonna say. Now I know it's a lot of I got partners that probably, well, I don't know, I ain't fucking with him in a minute, but he probably still drink 40s and shit. He was still on the motherfuckers back at a time, shit, 10, 11 years ago, which I was already never like, nigga, you still drinking 40s around this bitch? But yeah, I ain't fucking with that shit no more. So but I'm gonna tell you what the deal is. It's funny because this being her beer of choice, this is Irish shit. Mickey, when you hear like Mickey, Mac, like Max and Mickey, Miggity Mac, and all that shit, that's all Irish shit. The Mix, the Max, woo woo woo. Finn Mac Cool and all that old shit. That's all Irish shit. Nigga shit too. I have to say that because you think Irish, you think it's just the white version. No, that's ancient mythology and shit. So and I just realized how that shit all tied together. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, the green and gold. Cause I just made a connection between how close the day she made the transition is to St. Patrick's Day, with correlating that with the beer of choice, which is green and gold bottle, Mickey's, all Irish shit. So and then I'm changing the energy to Saint Tupac Day, which is she loves some Tupac. So I'm just looking at how all this shit is coming together. I'm like, God damn, this is some real amazing shit. Uh, then you got the Hornet on it and shit. Uh, so yeah, I won't be fucking with that no more though. But I'm just showing you the correlations, how this shit all ties in together or whatever. I just really processed all that right there. Yeah, man, I don't know what the fuck they got going on with that shit. I'm good. I put that shit in the category of Mad Dog 2020. If you don't know what that is, don't fuck with it. My generation probably should be the last generation to say that they drunk Mad Dog 2020. That shit is like Cisco or something. That is bullshit. And they got a new version. Fuck me up. I was in the liquor store not too long ago. It's like some shit called, what is it called? Man, I think that shit on my phone. I took a picture of that shit. I said, man, that's how ruthless that Mad Dog shit is. I took a picture of that shit. This is the new version. But I'm like, the old version, when you think of the old version, any nigga, nigga with some sense ain't fucking with no Mad Dog, man. I don't even know what it made, but who's still drinking that shit to possess them to even bring a new version of it out to even fuck with it. When I saw it, I was surprised. I was like, that shit, I'm surprised the motherfuckers, they be after this. I'm surprised they even still in business with that bullshit. But period. So I'm looking at the new shit, and there you go. Yeah, that shit called Mad Dog 2020 Spiked. I'm like, wow. Now look, let me get up there so y'all can see this shit. Now you was a nigga from that life or just a drinker. We ain't gotta say you from the hood, but that's really some ghetto shit. I hate the sound stereotypical. That Mad Dog 2020 ain't nobody with no goddamn sense drinking that bull. That's some. I drunk some of that shit since I've been home from jail, which is kind of taboo, it's questionable. It was one of them nights though. I think I was still on parole and shit, so couldn't smoke weed and shit. So I went and got it ain't been a minute since I had drunk it. I forgot how silly willy that shit. So I went and fucked around, went and got some of that shit, man, and woke up like, what the fuck is going on? That's all I'm gonna say about that shit. So any nigga that know about Mad Dog 2020, for one, to stay away from this shit. Two, you see some shit's called MD 2020 Spike. You like, well, come on now what y'all done to this shit? Because the shit was already bad. If you drank some of this shit, you going down, buddy. I don't know for who he is, you going down. You gotta be a real alcoholic to just. Any nigga, I ain't saying any niggas out there that just can hold their weight and drink that shit, but any nigga still drinking that shit, man. But that shit, yeah, they got a new one called Spike. I took a picture. I said, I'm gonna speak on this shit. Spike, you got some new MD 2020. That shit that's the Spike. That's the shit you spike the punch with. You know what I'm saying? You use that. That's the Spike. You can spike the Spike. The long story short, keep it. Stay away from Mad Dog 2020. That's some bullshit. But yeah, man. So I just thought that was interesting. So let me get to the Easter thing, and we're gonna come back and get to the Irish thing. Now, today rather, is supposed to be Easter. And I hate to be the guy to bust your bubble, but it's not Easter. Easter is actually the 3 days of the solstice, or March 22nd, going into to the 25th or whatever. And I'm gonna show you why. Undeniable, irrefutable motherfucking evidence that my damn computer is sitting on top of it. I would do some shit like that. Hold on real quick. Let me grab it. Boom. Okay. So yeah. Yeah, stay away from Mad Dog 2020. Like I said, when I seen Spike, that was like an insult to injury. I was like, yeah, really, man? Y'all could let that shit go. Who you made that shit for? There's still an audience for that. I mean, a dynamic for that shit. But we're gonna go to this Easter thing real quick. It ain't gonna take too long. I ain't finna be here a million years with y'all niggas today. That goddamn 10-hour shit, boy. Not saying there won't be no more of those, but I ain't gonna lie, that last one, that motherfucker, that took firewater out of nigga ass. I was, but anyway, so first and foremost, Easter is Ishtar. That's where the name comes from. Now, when you deal with Ishtar, the Ishtar is like the female version of Osiris. Because when we think of Osiris, we always think about him being the one crucified or tortured, cut in 14 pieces by Set or whatever within the Osirian drama. But it's so much. That's why Bobby used to always say, you have to study everything. Like, of course, when you look at Africa, they suppressed a lot of shit from over there because they know that's like once we associated with that landmass like that, even though we was all over the place. You know what I'm saying? And we gotta get out of this. I'm gonna say this. I don't want to get. I probably have to go deep into it in another video, or probably when I go back to the Max thing. But I'm gonna just say this here as a quick thought. We understand that people from Africa, who come over like, let me go into it. I had a conversation with one of my partners the other day, right? And we was building and the whole thing about us and Africans, us and American Africans, and that because by now you should know that part of the pseudo white supremacy thing was to turn not just white people against niggas in America. This how you know we are the head of the rise of black people, and they always knew this because you were looking for. Just think about it like this. Okay, here we are in America, right? We went through the whole slavery thing. Never got directly compensated for that. We'll get into that in a minute. But because even that's some bullshit. The concept of recompensation they gave you was some bullshit. But just for the sake of argument, never got compensated for that. And to add insult to injury, you bring people from other places or allow people from other continents, black and white, to come over here, and you give them grants and loans and help them start up businesses and all that shit. While you still oppressing the whole planet, but you still keeping a foot on the neck of niggas in America. But so we be like, oh, it's a black thing, they hate black people, and that's maybe a part of it, but you know it has to be some about niggas in America, because if they don't like black people or whatever, or that's the thing or whatever, they go as far as to let other black people come over here from other places, and they help them raise up. You know what I'm saying? So that alone should show you that it's some of it like anybody but them niggas. Get them niggas from over there, but not these niggas, because they know these niggas are we the ones that was slated to be the kickstart of the resurrection of the minds of not just black people, people period, coming out of this stupid ass paradigm we've been in or whatever. So that's why that happens. And you be like, well, they don't like all black people. We just speaking generally. I know we can go into all the nuances of it and all that shit. I'm not trying to do that right now. We just going with the basic black-white thing or how they been presented to us historically and all that shit here in America, or whatever. So it's like if this thing is black people and they fucking over us here in America, but then they bring other black people over here and favoring them over you, that should tell you about you in America. Living in America. Goddamn JB, that nigga came through the other day too. Boy, he fuck with your boy. I can't remember the story how he came through that. But yeah, that nigga came through not too long ago, man. Shout out to James, man. JB, man. Chicken James. But yeah. So yeah. But anyway, I brought that up just to say, and they do. You know, we have one of the reasons why we have and not all, because like I say, it's not of course the first generation Africans or people who were born over here who have parents that may have came over here and they were born over, but they were born here. Not so much with them because they grew up within the culture with us or whatever. So it's kind of harder to trick them into not liking us or saying fuck. Because technically speaking, they are American, even though they family is probably came from Africa or whatever. They were raised here or whatever, so they pretty much here or whatnot. You know, it's kind of hard to grow up in America and go to school in America and not like niggas, as opposed to somebody that grew up over there, came over here who was grown, and then when they get over here, get told by the people that's gonna help them flourish or whatever, hey, don't fuck with them niggas, cause don't fuck with them. So that creates a divide between us or whatever. So and people, people are becoming more and more aware of it. So now you got this thing where it's like niggas like, man, them niggas ain't my. We were already here. Everybody come over here from Africa and woo. And which is true. Everybody didn't come over here on slave ships and boats and shit. It was already niggas all over the world. Everywhere the white man went, when he got there, it was niggas there. Except for probably the Caucasus Mountains or some shit. Hey, ain't nobody fucking know. Ain't no reason beating them motherfuckers. At least not that I know of. I don't see nigga. Hell, I ain't a winter hater, but that winter, shit got to be right for me to enjoy winter. That cold, I prefer heat over cold. I just put it like that. But anyway, so yeah, we understand that whole whoopty wham or whatever. But what I'm trying to say is, because my boy was like, now it's one thing. First and foremost, we can't forget the oneness. Read the Kabbalion. See, you know, that's one book. It's a must-have. The Kabbalion. Put everything in perspective. White people, but whatever it is, because at the end of the day, what the Kabbalion teaches you is that you have to. And I'm paraphrasing, but I put it in my words. You have to at least be. See, when you have, you have to have the understanding of the oneness. You dig? That's why even when I talk about white people, it's like, whether they have souls or not, or whatever you want to say about them, whatever. And we are different. Now, than them, you do the spiritual reasons or whatever, and of course skin tone and biological reasons, a lot of shit. But at the end of the day, what makes you more, when you function at your highest level, you understand that everything is one. So that don't mean you have to get along with everybody, or you gonna get along with everybody. That don't mean you don't have your scuffles and whatever. But one thing I can say about that train of thought is, when you look at everything as a part of you, the more you can resonate with that fact, the more easier it becomes for you to get along in the world without getting your feathers ruffled so easy. That's pretty much all you can control. But it puts you in a mind space where you no matter what a person's class, creed, financial situation, uh, you would treat that person basically. Sometimes you gotta take shit back to the basics. Do on the others as you would want done to you. When you understand that everything is one, and you factor that phrase that we learned in elementary school in, then it becomes a lot easier for you to understand the oneness or whatnot of everything. But that don't, like I say, but so you more so see everything as a part of you, and anybody in a bright mind. When you to put it basically, when you see shit, when you treat others the way you want to be treated, then you would treat them fairly. But at the same time, the other persons or the other people or the world or whatever you want to call it, outside of yourself, the way you treat a person is also predicated on how they treat you or how they deal with you. So I'm not saying you just, well, you got to see everything as one and kiss ass, and I'm not saying it, or just even if a motherfucker don't like you, you got, oh, well, you're one. No, you have the right to say I don't fuck with you, and yeah, you know what I'm saying. You have that right, but that should be based off of them, or that should be like, well, if it ever comes to that, or it should always, you should, again, so many words, if you feel like that about somebody, you should at least have a reason where, like, I can't fuck with that person because woo and blah blah blah. But so the point I'm trying to make, because this is off subject a tad, but I want to say this, we might have different phenotypes, we may have different layers of melanin or different hues of melanin, and we may have different cultural values and different culture. So yeah, we can say that we're different from people in other continents, Africa in particular, based off of that. But ultimately, you don't never want to say, well, because this is what I've been hearing out lately. We not the same people. It's like, no, we are the same. You black. When you start thinking like that, that feeds into the divide and conquer. That's what we gotta see. We be slipping sometimes. If I hear conscious people say this shit, real conscious people, I'm talking about respectable, honorable guys who, at least in my eyes, who feel it that like, we ain't. Don't get me wrong. I understand that, because on one hand, people be like, them motherfuckers don't look at us like that. Cause that's the thing. That's why that's the part I understand, or why I would understand a person feeling the need to say that. I just think it probably should be worded different. That's just my opinion. But because we always, by us feeling like we all came from over there, and really in a sense we did, but not. The way I look at it, the center of the earth, or where everything sprung forth from, in the center was the Great Pyramid or whatever, or the pyramids of Giza or whatever. So everything came from there and migrated outward, you know what I'm saying, to other places. So when they say the motherland, that's true. We all still have some type of, even if it's a metaphorical, if you want to get as a metaphorical, in a metaphorical way or whatever, it still always ties back over there. But that wasn't the only thing popping. We was all over the planet as well for the most part too. So you don't want to just get caught up in one place. Going back to what Bobby was saying about the mythology. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to just get stuck studying African mythology. You want to study mythology from all over the world, because all this shit is saying the same thing. That's facts. It changes and varies, and sometimes you bump into where it's been perverted by the younger races who came along and perverted the meaning and shit or whatever. But when it's all said and done, what Bobby was saying, he was like, when they went over there and burnt them libraries or stole all the knowledge from Africa and a lot of the information that they took and flooded shit out or whatever, we lost a lot of Jews or whatever. But a lot of them Jews Isn't you so by them making a conscious effort to try to block out as much knowledge about African mythology or whatever. He was saying you like you try to study Osiris, just study in one place, then you'll miss a lot because a lot of shit got by that being the place that they concentrated on the hardest, whatever, as far as trying to block the energy out or keep us from it. You can find out more about Osiris in other places. You just gotta know the different versions of them or whatever, which you can find in mythology from all around the world or whatever. So so when you read, for example, like when you hear about Osiris, or the Osirian drama, you just hear about the version of Osiris going through all the travails and stuff, whatever. But Osiris represents, even though he's a man in the mythology, it represents our situation as a whole, man and woman. And to reflect that, you'll have, because I've actually seen I'm saying this because Ishtar represents the earth or whatnot. So I guess you can look at it like that too. But they both, actually, it's all tied together because Osiris is the earth too, but Osiris, for the most part, is the energy of light, or he's the sun god, but it's more so the hidden god, or the energy of the sun, as opposed to just the sun itself or whatever. That's why it's the hidden power. It's like in so many words, it's the work. When you see the sun shine light on the plant life, and the interaction between the two causes the plants to grow, Osiris would be more so of the energy working, the energy that causes the plants to grow that you don't see, because you see the light hit the plants, and you may see the plants spring up and grow, but when it's springing up, and if I grab this and do this, you see my hand moving it up and down. But when that plant come out that ground, you don't see that moving it. That energy that you don't see moving it, that hidden energy, that's Osiris. You know what I'm saying? And there's many different elements of it, but that's just one part of it or whatever. But now I've actually read, I think that's in the book Coming Forth by Day 2, the part where Isis goes through the crucifying thing or whatever, crucifixion thing or whatever. So but Ishtar, but you don't usually, when you think about the Osirian drama, it's usually you just think of Osiris being mutilated or whatever, and Isis having to save him or whatever. But she has it's a version 2 where she goes through a crucifixion or whatever, and that's where it comes to the earth or whatever. And not just Ishtar or Ishtar is the earth or whatnot. When you read about Ishtar, you're gonna read about her going into the underworld, and when she goes to the underworld, for her to go into the underworld, she has to take off her, I think it's her earrings, her necklace, girdle, or a belt, or something like that. But let's read up on the Ishtar. But she goes, but it represents when Osiris, the crucifixion of Osiris represents the sun in the fall, when the sun is starting to go beneath the earth, or the earth is rising, because we know the earth is moving in this, we know this, geocentrically speaking, heliocentrically speaking, which is the real shit, the sun sits in the middle and the earth moves around it. So when the earth, in the fall, the earth is going to a position north to the sun, and the sun is going to a position, or the sun, putting the sun in a southerly position. So that's the sun symbolically dying, or symbolically going into the underworld or whatever, like Osiris did. Flip to the other side of the game, when spring roll around, the earth is moving below is making its way below the sun, putting the sun at a northerly position. So uh Ishtar going into the underworld is the earth is when the earth is going below, or heliocentrically speaking, which uh will put the sun at the middle. I mean, the earth. I mean, geocentrically speaking, would be the Earth at the middle, and the sun, kind of like the way we see it from Earth, because we on Earth, so that's geocentric. But so it seems like the sun is rotating around us, but actually we're rotating around the sun. But geocentrically speaking, it would be when the Earth is crossing. I mean, the sun is crossing over the Earth's horizon. I mean, over the horizon of the Earth or whatever. So it'll be when. So we'll do the geocentric first because it's kind of easy. Oh, let me get my jump too. Hold on. Let me get my jizz on. So let's just say this is the Earth, right? I know the size is all fucked up. All this reversed and all that, but for the camera. But let's just say this is if this the Earth and it's the sun. This is March 22nd or whatever. March 22nd. It's the equinox, the spring equinox. So the spring equinox is basically when the sun is lined up with right here, and this is the Earth, when they line up straight across each other. So this would be one side of the Earth used to be the other side of the Earth, or whatever. So when they tell you that he spent 3 days in the tomb, what they're saying is this the tomb, this the sun right here, the light. Or let's do the real version. Let's say this the sun, this the Earth right here at the spring equinox. The sun is shooting. The rays of the sun are gonna be shooting straight to the Earth. So this would be the sun. Well, nah, let's do this version. Let's do the Earth version. This the Earth. This the sun on March 22nd, spring equinox. When that's the light shoot through the center of the Earth, or shoot through here, hits the center of the Earth and goes straight through the other side. It's called east meets west. So they say this the Earth, and we'll say the sun is over here. This the tomb. For 3 days, the sun is gonna be in a position where light is coming straight from the sun and going straight through the tomb or straight through here, and then by the third day it fully rises above or whatever. So when they say he wasn't in the tomb no more, what they're saying is for 3 days the sun was in a position where the light was getting straight to straight through to the core of the Earth, and then by the time the 3 days is up, it finally rises above the horizon, and the Earth putting the Earth at a southerly position in regards to it. So when they say he wasn't in the tomb no more, what they're saying is the light, the 3 days that it was in the tomb was the 3 days. Well, the 22nd would be when it's directly lined up with the core of the Earth, and then the 23rd, 24th, and 25th, it gradually go up, but there still be a little bit of light going through it until the 25th, to where it's the core of the Earth will be right here and the sun will be above it. That's Ishtar, or the Earth going into the underworld. Jesus rising, or the sun rising, the Christ rising. So, it's like they were saying. I heard somebody talking about American Gods, and they were saying how in American Gods it was episode with Ishtar on there, and they was telling her, it was a dude. I think it was the dude. I don't know. I heard. I didn't see it. I think I did see the episode. Did I see it? No, I don't think I never saw it. But I heard somebody speaking about it, and they was saying how they was telling. It was a guy in there telling the lady who was playing Ishtar. You see, he was telling her that Jesus hijacked her day, or he was saying you see how they hijacked your day and gave it to him when it was originally about you. Now that's bullshit too. It's about both. It was really about both of them, as I'm showing you. Ishtar going to the underworld and the light rising like Christ. That's why I say he is risen. The light rising above the horizon out of the tomb or whatnot. So now I will say that they totally well, I ain't gonna say, like I said, I'll scratch that when I say bullshit, because it do got a point, because you don't think about just like a lot of other shit in the world with this misogynistic ass society we live in. They don't, in some of the words they leaving shit out. They not telling you about the woman. Hold up, I'm tripping. Let me go back to that African thing. The point I was trying to make with that shit was, don't get caught up in that. Now, be aware and know that it's cool to know that when motherfuckers come over here, it's a possibility they might not like you based on being an American person. I mean, an American black person, due to the programming and shit that they went through, or whatever reason they feel like niggas over here under them or whatever. But you don't get caught up in that. You treat people accordingly. So you meet an African and they cool. If they act funny, then you know where they must be one of the ones that fell for the bullshit. So I just want to say that without taking up too much time. I think I'm gonna go deep into that on another. Probably treat that on his own for an hour or two one day. But anyway, so yeah. So they did kind of hijack it because they blotted her totally out and just gave you the whole he is risen and the Jesus thing. They don't tell you about the Ishtar going underworld. Who the damn shit's named after? That's the crazy part about it. Ishtar is Ishtar. You dig? So that's one aspect of the Easter thing. The other is the motif of it. That's all I said. We gotta get out of this white man holiday shit. I can tell you for sure. 4th of July, you might even that shit. That represents when you shooting them fireworks in the air. That represents serious rising, star power. That's why when they shoot up, the fireworks shoot up and they spread out and shit. You know what I'm saying? That spread is emulating stars. So even that is something. They put that bullshit. What independent? What is that? Supposed to be when celebrating when, which is relevant to this movie, but ain't that when they celebrating America's independence from London or whatever? There's some shit, which is that even that's some bullshit, because them motherfuckers still push buttons from over there and run this shit, but they want you to believe America was independent of that shit or whatever. But even that shit is wrapped around, got a core, some real core shit to it, just wrapped around that old 1456, whatever that shit is. That's the bull. The real shit is what I just told you, the Star Sirius rising or whatever, because Star Sirius rises in July. So I might have to do a little deep. Cause I actually did. I kind of forgot this shit though, so I got to go back. It's a little more to the 4th of July thing. So I think I'm gonna have to sit down and really get back into my inner recesses of my mind. But anyway, even like I say, 4th of July, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, Mother's Day. Now who knows where they got that from? But I think there's some shit that's rooted in. We probably had a day to celebrate mothers and fathers and all that, or whatnot. So I wouldn't even count them out. But for sure, Easter, Christmas, Halloween, 4th of July, uh, 4th of July, Valentine's Day, all that shit has uh, metaphor, or excuse me, metaphysical explanations behind them. So any nigga that's out here still just, oh, the white man's holiday and the white, and he don't know the shit I be telling you, you need to tell him you need to go do your research. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, that's like Christmas. See, I'm going to give you a little nugget with Christmas. Back to what I was saying about the sun. When the earth starts to rise and the sun goes below this earth, or starts going towards, or we start going closer to the winter solstice, Christmas and all that, the sun is at its weakest point. Therefore, it means you're not getting as much vitamin D as you would during the spring and the summer and all that. Vitamin D is connected to your mood. The more vitamin D, the more happier you will be. For lack of a better way of putting it. Or I'll just say this. Some of y'all may know, some of y'all may not know, but be aware of this. But what's that shit called? Seasonal. I can't remember. I think the acronym is SAD. It's seasonal. Some shit. So many words. Sadness, as the word feel. You're more prone to sadness in the winter or the months going into the winter or whatnot, because for one, lack of vitamin D. So the holiday spirit, the holiday cheer, all the lights. Like I say, it hit different when you just that money ain't everything, but it hit different when you ain't got no goddamn money. Don't get me wrong, I know how that shit is too. You know what I'm saying? You got people who Christmas ain't all that cool because they can't afford what we consider Christmas, or afford to do Christmas things or whatever. So it might it can have I've seen with my own eyes, so it can have the opposite effect of what it should have. But even then, harder it may be for this to work, which is what I'm saying. Working is lights, all that shit. Part of that Christmas spirit motif is to actually lift your spirits and help you try to keep your spirits high at a time where you're more prone to have low spirits due to the fact that the syndrome, what's the shit called? They got a name for it, seasonal. I can't remember what the shit is, but it's sadness in so many words, melancholy or whatever. You're more melancholic or whatnot, or more prone to melancholy or whatever. Not saying just because the winter comes, you gotta, it's time to be sad. Nah, not that. But it's but one thing I will say, if your shit ain't together, or you ain't, if you in a bad mindset or a rough spot in life, when winter roll around, you feel it even more in the winter. But that Christmas spirit and that Christmas cheer and holidays, the holiday spirit as they call it, that shit is all them lights and the bells and the music. All that shit is to help you lift your spirits or try to help you deal with I'm gonna get deep into it, and I don't want to, but I just want to drop the little nugget on y'all. And the shit work, but you know what you gotta do? You gotta be really in tune with that inner child. The more in tune with your inner child you are, the easier it is for it to work. And I'll stop right there. I'll get into that later. I'll say I'm trying to kind of getting off subject, but long story short, man, that white man holiday shit, ain't you need to be celebrating Christmas. I don't celebrate Christmas because I'm conscious. Nah, that's all our shit. You throwing your shit away, really. I fucks with all that. I ain't gonna spend too much time harping on that in this segment, but I'm which I've already done work on that, but I think I'm gonna revisit that because what I just told you, I just really, not really just caught on to that, but it's really, I just came to that. I'll break it down when I do the other video. But anyway, so yeah, so like I was saying about the Ishtar thing, they pretty much when he was telling her they hijacked it or whatever, it's a point to that because they don't teach you about Ishtar. They don't teach you, which is the namesake of the holiday itself, Easter. So when you, like I say, when you read up on Ishtar, you will see what I'm saying about the earth going into the underworld or whatnot, or going beneath the sun or whatever, and the sun rising to the, as we head into the towards the summer solstice. So now to get into the motif of Easter, to get to the motif of Easter, let's break that down. The Easter basket is symbolic of the earth. You see the baskets are woven. The weavings of the basket, first and foremost, that's Neith energy. Neith is the weaver in Kemet or whatnot. So that's Neith energy, the weaving of the basket, the weave. And then the way the weaving looks correlates to the grid lines of the earth or whatever. They put the little artificial green stuff in the Easter basket. That represents the grass coming out of the earth. And it's the earth. Easter basket. You can even look at this as the handle. The green grass comes from the earth. If this was the Easter basket, the little green shit that be in it would be coming out like the grass or whatever. Easter egg represents fertility. Feminine, there go that Ishtar thing again, the feminine aspect of it. Hiding the eggs and having to find the eggs. Show you where that comes from. Now, for y'all, I'm not going in all this damn creating the earth shit right now. Well, not in detail, but I just give it a quick. You know already. If not, you need to go. You should have been ripped into some of my other work before you got here. But anyway, y'all should be able to see that. Anyway, this the land before time, when it was just darkness, light. Then you had Star Sirius at the center or whatever. This goes up, all that light. Just down here, 7 shoots straight up, creates 7 spears, and then the rest of the light comes out and fills out the circumference or whatever. This would be the top. This would be this from a bird's eye view. This would be this from an underbelly view. When all that light goes up and does that, they basically switch stations or whatever. All that darkness fills up with the light until it looks like this at the top. While at the bottom, the earth, the core of the earth is being formed or whatever. By the dark melanin dripping down, going out to you got the 7 spears of melanin that come down right here, then you got the melanin that oozes off into the side and creates the earth that we stand on, or the underworld. The next part of the process is when all 7 of these spears go up and meet up right here, or retract and go up. And while that is happening, all that light that filled that up retracts from here, and all the light goes to right here until it shoots out and creates the stars. But it leaves little specks of light all up and through here. These 7 spears these are 7 spears with melanin coating them or whatever. When that light goes up, that melanin that's coating them falls off and covers up those little light specks that was left here. The little light specks is the eggs, and the little light specks is the eggs, and the melanin falling off of those spears are the hiding of the eggs. Hidden treasures of that's the treasures of darkness, or whatever. Hidden treasures of darkness. So that's where the hiding of the eggs thing comes from. Plus the hiding of the eggs also corresponds to the 14 pieces of Osiris body having it being mutilated, spread out, and Isis having to go and search for each part. The search for the eggs symbolizes corresponds to the search for the 14 missing pieces of Osiris or whatever. So that's the Easter egg hunt. The bunny rabbit is represents fertility too, because they have rabbits have a high procreation rate, or they, that's why you hear people say fucking like jackrabbits and all that shit, because that's fertility too. Or the eggs being the fertile, represent one aspect of fertility, the bunny the other. Plus the bunny rabbit corresponds to Osiris, the Nefer version of Osiris, which is represented by the rabbit. That's why when you see the old cartoons like the tortoise and the hat, the story of the tortoise and the hare, where the earth and the turtle is racing. You know, the turtle is real slow, rabbits are real fast. So the turtle was racing the hare or the bunny rabbit, and you know they'll show the rabbit by him being fast. So he's running around and playing around with the rabbit and shit while he racing them and shit or whatever. But that represents the rabbit represents the earth. The turtle represents the earth, and the hare or the rabbit represents the moon orbiting the earth, because the moon orbits the earth. It moves faster than the sun moves, so it moves faster than the earth moves. So the earth orbits it takes 360 days or 365 days for the earth to orbit the sun, but it only takes 28 days for the moon to orbit the earth. So the moon also corresponds to the rabbit or whatever. So that's where the Easter rabbit, the bunny rabbit thing comes from. I think that pretty much covers it. And then dying the Easter eggs, you can consider that as the chakras. It's my Valentine's joint I did, but so it's looking real Easterish. So that's the thing with that. Let me make sure I ain't missing nothing before I get off of Easter. Bunny rabbit. So that pretty much does it for the Easter thing. But yeah, man, y'all look up Ishtar, study Ishtar, man. Find out some interesting things. So that'll probably do it for the Easter. Now we can move into this whole Irish Jam thing. Yeah, we can go ahead and jump into that. Now, Irish Jam. Now let's get back to the Ireland thing. Now, on one hand, Now, this movie came out 2006. And it's funny how this shit connect and it bear witness to the whole Saint Tupac thing. Like I say, 2006. That's when I was in jail. I didn't even have no. I don't even remember seeing no commercials about this shit, this movie or whatever coming out or whatnot. But like I said, my first time seeing it was back in November, right around the time I was doing the Max thing. I seen like whatever. I don't know if it was the first video or the second video where I speak about the Irish connection with black people in that movie. When I was dealing with the movie, but whatever the case, I saw it right after I broke that part down. I saw that movie for the first time. I said, you know what, this is a good movie right here because I'm saying this shit about the Irish. I mean, I said it before I did the Max thing, but that was the most recent video I spoke about it in. But I was like, see, this shit here bear witness to what I was saying in the movie or whatever. I mean, in the goddamn video. But anyway, so so when I saw it, I say, damn, this shit right on point. Living with the spirit. That's how it always happens. But so I'm looking at this shit, I'm like, okay. Now, I didn't come up with the concept for this taking the St. Patrick, taking that particular holiday, removing St. Patrick, and put Tupac in that place and renaming it St. Tupac. So instead of just saying fuck the holiday altogether, we'll keep the motif, but we'll reverse the energy on it and put things back in their rightful place. And you be like, well, what does that mean? Now, like I said, if you've been following my work, you already know the story, but I'll give you a brief. I'll go through as briefly as I can. Like I say, the movie came out in 2006, and that's really, like I said, I always been conscious to a certain degree before I even got into the metaphysics and knowing that the black man is God and all this shit. Just once I got to the age where they taught us about slavery and the history between blacks and whites and this, that, and the third, that automatically put me in a pro-black state of mind or whatever. So that's why I say I always been conscious to a certain degree, because I've always had that type of mentality. It's just you learn more, you grow more, and you go to different levels of this shit. So 2006 is when I really started getting to the meat and potatoes, and finally was able to grasp the concept of being God or whatever, or divine, or however you want to put that. So boom, the movie come out in 2006. I'm in jail, oblivious to the motherfucker. Now, the whole story, I'm gonna read from Anthony Broader's Salute to the Elder. I'm gonna read from his great work, The Nile Valley Contribution to Civilization. This is in a chapter which is a must-have. That and especially if you freshen your consciousness, or you just come into consciousness or whatnot, or if you're thinking about if it's somebody that you're trying to turn on to consciousness, these would be two books that start them off with good starter kit. Shit changed my life. I say this book right here, and from the Broader Files, that was the beginning for it. Changed my whole life. And really, not the first two books that shout out to Francis Chris Wilson too, man. Shout out to the ancestor, man. Uh, uh, ISIS papers. Um, for like books, conscious books, just to put it in a certain way. It started there with me. That was like the first book I read on, about blackness and not this, that, and the third. So that was like the start for me. But uh, that was the spark. But then this is what, when I read these two books, this what catapulted me into where I needed to be at. Not saying that ISIS papers didn't, but so I could say that one too. That would change my life as well. But this one right here, opened my eyes to a lot of shit. But I'm gonna read from this right here, and we'll take it from there. That's how we read the whole page. One of the most enduring aspects of Nile Valley civilization was the proliferation of its scientific and philosophical thought, which became known outside of Kemet as mystery schools or hermetic sciences. From the earliest of times, the masses of Europeans were poor and ignorant, while only the most fortunate men, noblemen, lords, scribes, and various religious leaders were provided with an education. Of this group, an even smaller number knew how to adequately read or write. The dogma of Christianity was readily available for the masses of people, while the educated elite studied the ancient teachings, which were also called gnosis, or true knowledge. The newly emerging schools of Hermetic, Neoplatonic, and Gnostic thought in Europe were loosely based on the Nile Valley principles of education, which were designed to awaken within an individual knowledge of self. The knowledge led to an awareness of the powers of God which exist within man, and expressed in the myth of Asar and Heru. The philosophy was in direct this philosophy was in direct conflict with Christianity, which taught that man was conceived in sin and that salvation could only be gained through Jesus the Christ, the Pope, or other accepted intermediaries. One example of the clash between the opposing ideologies can be found by studying the symbolism incorporated in the story, symbolism incorporated in the story of St. Patrick and the Druids of Ireland. Peter Tompkins, in the wonderful book Secrets of the Great Pyramid, provided a clue to this mystery in a brief overview of the Druids. Druids in Old Irish meant he who knows. Julius Caesar, our earliest source on the subject, considered the Druids highly educated and well organized. In De Bello Gallico, he commented, it is especially the object of the Druids to inculcate this, that souls do not perish, but after death pass into other bodies, and they consider that by this belief, more than anything else, men may be led to cast away the fear of death and to become courageous. True indeed. They discuss many points concerning the heavenly bodies and their emotions, the extent of the universe and the world, the nature of things, the influence and ability of the immortal gods, and they instruct the youth in these things. Sound familiar? Let's go on. The Druids were also known to dress in a style similar to the priestly kings of Kemet. That's why I said that shit. I'm thinking about some other shit. Anyway, their heads were often adorned with the uraeus, which was the symbol of the cobra that was worn on the crown of the pharaoh. Because of this symbolic imagery, the Druids were often referred to as the snake people. Their presence and ideology were viewed as a direct threat to the development of Christianity in Ireland. In 432 AC, Pope Celestine I sent a former British slave named Patrick into the region to convert the population. In the name of Christianity, Patrick's army slew thousands of Irishmen and he is said to have founded more than 300 churches and baptized more than 120,000 persons. Patrick also introduced the Roman alphabet and Latin literature in Ireland. He was rewarded by the Vatican with sainthood, and today millions of people throughout the world celebrate St. Patrick's Day on his feast day, March 17th. To the average person who dresses in green, wears shamrocks, and marches in parades, this day commemorates the man who drove the snakes out of Ireland. What most people fail to realize is that the snakes that St. Patrick drove into the sea were not snakes that crawled on the ground, but the snake people who walked on 2 feet and were once known as druids. So and that makes all the sense in the world. So when he says I just gave you the breakdown, but the part where he said they drove into the sea, that may very well be saying it made some of us get on some boats and leave and go somewhere, some shit. But nonetheless, you see where the origin of that. The average person don't know that though. You see a lot of now based off of that. I would say that's why I reversed the energy. I understood that the Irish motif itself was something that existed prior to a fucking St. Patrick. They just took, like they do with all this shit, random motherfuckers who the culture belonged to, and once they ran them off and killed them off, took the shit and started rocking with it, and basically dressed St. Patrick up with all this motif or whatever of the same motherfuckers he was responsible for killing or whatever. So what I did was found 2015, 2014 or something like that. I said, you know what? I ain't gonna throw the baby out with the bathwater. The motif is our shit. This St. Patrick bastard is the problem with all this shit. So on one hand, you can look at the motif and celebrate springtime coming back and everything springing back to life. That's cool, ain't nothing wrong with that. Plus all the motif is ours anyway. But I said we gotta get this bastard out the way. And who better to put in that place of St. Patrick than St. Tupac? Because Tupac, middle name, Amaru, means shining serpent. His name is the same as America. Amaru in America means the same thing. Amaru means shining serpent. America means land of the shining serpent. Which is, you just looking at, hearing the name of it should tell you, give you a hint to what was slated to happen over here as far as the rise of black people. So that part. So we dealing with the snake thing. I said, well, you know what? We're gonna reverse that energy. Since he ran the snake people out, we gonna jack the holiday and put the snake man in there, put Pac in there, the shining serpent. So so it's basically so much I'm telling you, but this shit goes so with the, mind you, I'm doing all this shit I'm telling you about before I even know about this fucking movie. But watch how this shit all come together. How spiritual, this spiritual, but did. So, and like I say, I ain't gonna go into all the details right here, cause I got videos on this shit. So go back if it ain't on this page. I got 2 YouTube pages: Starface Spaceship, Starface Summer. I get them mixed up. I think this one is Starface Summer. So go to Starface Spaceship. Yeah. And just look for the Irish shit. You'll see it. I done broke all this shit down before. outside of the movie. But the movie, I'm just giving you a brief overview of this shit here. But um, because it's a thing behind it. It's a thing behind this shit. But behind the whole Tupac, it's a whole story within itself. But I don't want to take up too much time with that right now. So uh, so when you look at this movie, when I saw this movie, I was like Irish Jam. So okay, let me go check this shit out in here. I'm looking at this shit. Bad motherfucker. Now Eddie Griffin is a good comedian in my opinion. He made Monique. Well, I think in this movie right here, the comedy didn't either my sense of humor is shot a tad bit, or to me the comedy and the comical aspect of it didn't age well. But it's a good movie outside of that. You know what I'm saying? Outside of that, and that's just my opinion. You might see it and feel like it's funny, but it's and maybe it would have been. Nah, I just didn't find it funny. I'm gonna be honest. That ain't a knock at them. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect to them. It was just my opinion, but it was a good movie though. As far as what it dealt with, more and that's the thing about it too. It was probably more so of an educational movie than a comical movie, but they just had, you know, them in there to splash in a little laughter or whatever. But when you look at it, it's a deep. The movie has a more involved meaning, but to it or whatever. So Irish Jam. So I first and foremost, okay, it's Eddie Griffin, and now it's a village in Ireland. Now you go back to the prior information I dealt with in the Mad Max, which is the most recent time I spoke on it. I was telling you about how London, England, I keep saying London, but it's all the same shit. But England, how they pretty much had beef with Ireland or whatever. The same way they treated us as far as black people, they treated Irish people like that. Like when all the immigrants was coming over here through Ellis Island and all that. And then when they finally got over here, same way you seen signs saying like no blacks allowed and shit like that. They had shit like that for the Irish. No Irish allowed. But they deal with all this shit in the movie. I said all this shit, and that's why I say it's funny, because I done that when I did the Max, when I spoke about the whole Irish, black, and England thing or whatever. I said all this shit, and then right after I did that video, I saw this movie and I said, damn, it's a good movie to point them to, because you can go see I ain't just running my goddamn mouth when I'm talking this shit. You know what I'm saying? So for niggas that don't want to do the research and want to look for books and shit, you just go watch this movie. You will see they telling you too in these movies. So but like I was saying, the reason that they had a problem with Ireland is because they never, even though they ran all the black people, aka snake people, or killed a lot of them and ran them off or did whatever, for whatever reason, they still felt like it was a heavy nigga presence in Ireland, even when after the intermingling, and because that went down too. They weren't just killing niggas too. They were killing niggas and intermingling, and until the races got lighter and lighter and all that. So in so many words, a lot of the Irish had like red hair and shit. So it's like they even looked at that like it's a sign of the nigga. But some of the words, what I'm trying to say is, um, no matter how pale the people may have been over there, they still felt like it was a lot of. Just say they feel like it's a lot of motherfuckers over there passing for white, or they felt like that nigga element was still entrenched in a lot of the Irish or whatever. Now you probably got your, I mean, you got your regular ones over there too. They white and probably don't like niggas, but you probably be more harder pressed to find. Not saying racism don't exist over there and shit, but you'll probably be harder pressed to find. It'll probably be easier, or they probably be more open minded or more nigga friendly, I should say, in Ireland than other compared to other parts of Europe or whatever. That's just my. I never been to Ireland. I wouldn't mind going. Shit look kind of beautiful. Based on off what I saw. But long story short, they felt like it was that nigga element was still heavy over there, so they always treated them with a heavy hand, even when they was coming over here. So they, even though when they was coming over here, they might have been white or looking white or was white or whatever. And I say Europe, this shit was like a colony of England and all that shit or whatever. So that bias that England had, because we gotta remember, a lot of motherfuckers that came over here was sent from England and shit. So that England Irish rivalry traveled over here as well, or whatever. Um. So they, I guess what I'm trying to say in so many words, they look at them like niggas too. You finna see this movie, the shit that they speak on all this shit. So let's get to the movie. We got Eddie Griffin. He playing Jimmy the Jam. Now he in L.A. Just a regular nigga. Kind of, now the way they got his character is kind of stereotypical, because it's like, now see, that's the thing too. On one hand, you look at it probably to say it's stereotypical, but then at the same time, the shit that's making me say that is the same shit. When I thought at first I thought about it like that, and I said I was trying to, in some of the words I was looking at, I was like, are they trying to make this nigga character stereotypical on purpose? Or the more so I was like, no, I don't think that's it. I think what it is what they trying to show you, because they're gonna be doing a lot of what y'all would consider nigga shit, which I don't, like, nigga, I don't say that shit like, but nigga shit like it's a bad thing. Oh, they go acting like niggas, and that's nigga shit. Nigga shit is niggas is even that nigga. The nigga means shining serpent or king or whatever, or snake people, the nigga people. So when you put that negative spin on it and you look at it like nigga is a bad word, you really tripping. Don't call me a nigga, I'm a black man. Or when you consider something fucked up that way on that nigga shit, you dissing yourself, because you falling for the mind control, the program. Because nigga is not a derogatory term. It's really a word you should be able to use anywhere, in school and all that shit, but they didn't fuck it up so much so it's like, nah, it's like a bad word or whatever. So blah blah blah. But it's, even that's relevant, because nigga directly means the serpent, the shining serpent. I ain't talking about snake, sneaky, stealing from you type shit, which even that, I think it's like, you snake ass nigga and all that other shit. Even that's some bullshit. But anyway, but I think what from what I get from it, why I say why I said at first I looked like it was stereotypical, and you can't look at it when you see it, you'll see what I'm saying, because it comes off kind of stereotypical, but I understand why they did that. What they was trying to do, at least in my take on it, they were trying to show you that it's the nigga in America, and not just the black man in America. The nigga element, what you would consider the nigga, the gold chain wearers, the gangbangers, the fucking the hood ghetto shit or whatever you want to call it. They understood that not only would it be the black man in America that sparked that rise, not just any black man, not just suit and the whole, I'm buttoned up and upward mobile. No, they trying to show you in that movie is it's that nigga, them niggas over there sipping them 40s, selling that crack cane. That's the other part right there. Oh, we'll get to that part, but yeah, the niggas over there selling that crack cane and with them dirty Harry guns and yeah, them niggas. That's what it ain't restricted. You know, it's conscious people in all walks of life. But what they were trying to tell you was that shit that you looking for, that Christ energy, me, it's gonna come from that nigga element. Them niggas over there dealing. So you gonna see them doing the hip hop niggas. Let me put it like that. That's what I'm saying. Stereotypical shit. That's the part I'm talking about. It's like, you know, he gonna be when you will see it. You just watch the shit. You will see what I'm saying. But it's a bunch of stereotypical hip hop shit in it. But I don't think they did that. You have some movies where they do that shit on purpose. That's why I have to look at it. I don't think they was doing it as like trying to just push it off as a stereotype. What they was trying to do was show you that them niggas, don't sleep on them niggas. So just like me, motherfuckers see me, don't know me, see me in my hip hop gear or my hood nigga attire. If they ain't open minded enough, the last thing they'll think is I'm an educated person that can speak about all this shit. He just another fucking crack dealer or some shit. You know what I'm saying? So, but so yeah, Eddie Griffith, he in California, typical nigga shit, hard times. Nigga out there selling fake weed, trying to survive and shit, or whatever the fuck he was doing. Now this where the shit got interesting. When he go in his house, when he walk in the house, it's a picture of Pac on his door, on the inside of his house, on his door, or whatever. He's stupid. Now that's the now when you look at the poster, it's gonna be a picture of Pac and it's gonna say Scorpio posters or some shit like that. Now see, even this shit here has a thing, because like I was just telling you, peace to my nigga Fat Patrick Hawkins, the hawk, the bird. You got three versions of three aspects of the Scorpio. You got the Scorpion, which is the lowest. That's the backbiter or whatever. That's the part that corresponds to your lower self. Then you got the serpent. The serpent is like the midpoint. That's the Kundalini energy of the shining serpent or whatever. It's it'll be the in between. And then the highest is the eagle or a bird. There's so many words. So you got the scorpion, which is the lowest level. Now, when a bird, birds are symbolic of spirituality because they represent a rise, the wings and all that or whatever. So the snake being a second, you might see some symbolism somewhere where you'll see a hawk or a bird or something like that in the air with a snake in his hand, because you know the birds swoop down and eat snakes and shit. So on physical mundane level, you see that shit, you be like, oh, that's that snake ass. But on the metaphysical level, the bird lifting the snake up represents the elevation, or the kundalini lifting or rising up. Or I'll give you a better example, the medical, the sign for the medical symbol, or the medical industry or whatever, which is our shit too. I might have a picture of that shit. The caduceus, a snake with wings. So another way of giving you an image of a snake with the wings would be the bird picking the snake up or causing the snake to rise by flapping its wings or whatever. So this ain't the whole book. I don't know what the rest of my. I gotta get this book over with. It was already coming apart when I got out of jail, and then I started when I was couch surfing and shit. I lost a lot of shit, so I'm gonna have to. I think I'm gonna have to do that ASAP too. Go back down there, through there. But yeah. So I thought that was interesting. So when you look at the Pac thing being a shining serpent, but then you look at Pat, the only Patrick I acknowledge. You know what I'm saying? I say that loosely because I know probably some cool guys out there named Pat, but you know we just fucking around. Like that's our biggie. You know, niggas be like, yeah, the only Christopher Columbus Day come around. He's like, the only Christopher I acknowledge is Wallace. And I'm down with that shit too. Shout out to my nigga B. He coming through this shit too. But I put that together. So I was like, you know, if you do say St. Patrick's Day, say it in the spirit of Patrick Hawkins, man. Shout out to Big John too, man. Shout out to goddamn Hawkeye, man. You know what I'm saying? My niggas. Niggas be coming through too, fucking with your kid, heavy. So yeah. Now when I saw that, you know, automatically. Now mind you, when I came up with the Saint Tupac shit, I had no idea about this movie. So when I watch this movie, then I see Pac post, I say, up there, here's where it begins, right? Because it's the beginning of the movie, so I'm like, okay, yeah, here you go. So it's like clockwork with me. This shit is off the chain. That's all I can say, man. But so I saw that. I said, okay. I said, here go that Saint Tupac shit. So you see, when I started the Saint Tupac shit, I remember I came up with the concept, got on Facebook, put the concept on Facebook, told niggas, hey, let's do it like this. To no avail. You know, niggas probably just blew me off like I was just, you know, a nigga just talking. They go, you know, Sam talking that old crazy shit. But here we are with this goddamn movie, Irish Jam, Tupac in it, poster wise. He might not be in the movie as acting, but the imagery still. You see how the universe bears witness to the shit I be saying, even before I don't even be knowing. I'm just doing shit, you know. 10, 15 years later, this type of shit happened. But anyway, so many words, don't doubt the Dogun, damn it. But which is another thing I want to say about the African thing. But we be talking, so because you get to getting too crazy with that. I ain't African, we different people and all that shit. But what about the Dogun? See, the Dogun fuck with you. See, the Dogun. See, if you're gonna say fuck them niggas over there, you gotta say fuck the Dogun. And the Dogun, you can't say that about the Dogun. That's them niggas. That's as well as Africa. Period. That's why I say you can't get into the separation shit because you become like them in so many words. Now you could recognize shit for what it is and deal with it accordingly, but don't get to that monster. I personally don't prescribe to that. But cause like I said, if you're gonna separate yourself or I'm a different people than them. No, we all one. They made us think that we different, and for whatever reasons they got them feeling like they feel about us, and then that causes us to feel the way we feel about them. So that further divides us. So the more and more you feel, yeah, we might be different culturally, but shit, niggas in Houston is different from niggas in New York, or Niggas in Kansas is different from niggas in Milwaukee or some shit. But you ain't gonna say, like, because the way niggas is saying, it's like, man, them niggas ain't like that. Ain't it's something different about us. It's like, yeah, nigga, it's something different about you and your neighbors. Shit, nigga, Houston and San Antonio niggas ain't the same. They probably got similarities because we both from Texas, but them niggas is different. Like, not different, like, I ain't saying like different, like, since they some fucking race that dropped out of the sky or some shit, but it's different culture and shit. Ain't no, just like that's all it is. Different culture, different way of doing things, but same motherfucking people. So, let's get off to that. Well, at least don't. And I say I understand why people say that, but I guess I'll be the one that kind of grab. Don't go. I understand where you're going. Don't go too far though. Come back. Don't go too far. Don't go too deep into that shit. Cause I do know trust me. I do know this motherfucker over there. Don't look at us like we brothers, and I understand that. So it's good to be aware of that shit too, cause you don't want to be trying to chum up with a motherfucker just cause they from Africa. But hey, my brother, and them motherfucker looking at you worse than the white man look at you. You don't want to be that nigga either, but you don't want to be, you just leave them motherfuckers leave them in that box. You don't get in that box with them and like, yeah, fuck me and Charlie, we ain't family, fuck you niggas. You don't want to be that. If that's how the motherfucker feel, let them feel like that. They the ones fucked up. Those who are of that. Cause like I said, I ain't no shout out to all my Nigerians, Kenyans, and all that shit. I fuck with all of those. If you fuck with me, I fuck with you. I don't get into the, even though we might have our differences and difference in culture and blah blah blah, I don't, get too far from all that. But and that's all I want to say on that note. But to take it back to old Jimmy Jam. So bad. Let's get to what the movie about. Now, some of the words is this village in Ireland, and enter the fucking English. It's a village in Ireland, and this is the only village. This is God. What's his guy name? I forgot this motherfucker name. Anyway, the antagonist of the movie, or the bad guy of the movie, or however you want to put it. He's an Englishman. Or he's from England. Rich English dude. I forgot this motherfucker name. Halstock, some old shit. Yeah, Halstock. Yeah. Hillstock. Now, so in the movie, he owns all of Ireland except for this one village. And for whatever reason, for him to get that village, it's a pub, or a bar. That's what we call it over here. That's Osirian, because all that shit relates to Osiris. But you got the pub, and for whatever reason, the only way he can own this last piece of land he's trying to acquire with that island, he has to buy the bar or acquire the bar or whatever. And you had to get the details from the movie and shit, but so many words go like this. The people who own that bar, in order to keep him from doing that, they would have to they have to sell the bar, raffle it off to somebody from outside of the village or Ireland or whatever. And then once that person get it, he won't be able to get it or whatever, because it was something like, even if they didn't want to sell it to him, he was gonna steal. I think they owed money or something. I think they owed some money to some place or some shit. So however it go, he would have been, if they had to sell it off or raffle it off, not sell it, but raffle the shit off, just to put it in the hands of somebody else that's from the outside. So once they did that, he wouldn't be able to get it or whatever. So what they did was they had a poetry contest, and whoever won the contest, her shit won the bar. So they win the bar. Once they get the bar, he won't be able to get the motherfucker unless that person sell it to him or whatever. Then they would actually have to, the dude would actually have to buy it. But it was the owner of the bar, or Finnegan's was what it was called. The owner of Finnegan's, I think they was in debt. So I think he would have been able to get the bar by absorbing their debt. I think he was gonna pay who they owed. So he was gonna pay their debt out, and then that would make them owe him, and he was gonna take the bar for their debt, and then have the whole shit or whatever, something like that. But when you see it, you check out the movie, you'll see it. So they did the thing, and your man's Eddie, he wins the contest or whatever. And I'm gonna stop right here because I ain't got enough space. I'm gonna have to load this shit and then do the next part. So y'all be ready for part 2. We'll pick up from right here, the bar. Peace.